Fox 9's Paul Blume joining us now live from the school with more on that. Paul, what can you tell us?
Well, Randy, this is a critical update. MPD has said, according to surveillance video that has been viewed, this suspect, who was believed to be armed with a handgun, left the school building, that he was seen leaving the school building. So in theory, the threat is over. But MPD and this school district are following through on their protocols and continue to keep this building in lockdown, systematically evacuating students. And I think if we can pan over just a little bit, Doug, on the far side, you can see some of these students. Now, this call came in around 3:30. I think the school went into lockdown about 3:45. So we're almost on 2 hours that these students were locked down in classrooms out of an abundance of caution. What basically transpired here, as we were told, is a suspect was seen perhaps trying to board a Metro Transit bus. It looked like he had a gun. Police saw him. He ran. It's believed he ran into the school building, so the school wasn't taking any chances. Now you do the math, 3:30. We're after dismissal, so a lot of students and staff had left, but extracurriculars still going on, drama classes, fundraisers. So these kids were in classrooms of some kind. They were locked down and are now finally getting out of their building. We're at 44th and Newton. This is the location where MPD wants parents to reconnect with their students. Important to note at this point, no injuries, no reports of any shots fired. Again, everybody now just following through on protocol.
The video surveillance is showing that the suspect...
And that woman was locked, the young woman, 16 years old, was locked down in the theater where there were no windows for quite some time. She was shaken. It's kind of been a difficult afternoon for those youngsters who have been caught up in this lockdown. Again, important to note, this suspect no longer believed to be on this campus, but MPD taking all precautions that they possibly can, going door by door, room by room, hallway by hallway, to make sure this school is entirely clear. We'll be back with you guys coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, we're live at Patrick Henry High School. Paul Blume, Fox 9.
It wasn't just some ordinary man that was killed. He was a mentor, a father, a son, a brother, teacher that made everybody laugh and smile.
A heartbreak from a widow of a man killed in a crash that police believe was caused by a distracted semi-truck driver. A family shattered, and tonight this woman speaking out on a mission to get motorists to put down their phones.
Our Paul Blume spoke with her today. Paul, there's a lot of raw emotion in this woman. You can hear it in that interview, and it's all because of an alleged distracted driver.
It is, and it's absolutely devastating. Now, 2 weeks ago, this case generated a ton of headlines. It's been a couple weeks that have passed since the crash in Lake Elmo on Highway 36, but as you heard, as Jess spoke today, the pain, the anguish, and the anger remains. Her life partner is gone. Meanwhile, the semi-driver, who prosecutors allege had his eyes on his phone and not the highway, is now charged with criminal vehicular homicide.
He had a zest for life. He loved to live.
Jess Bursick explained that her family has been robbed of so much.
It's very overwhelming.
She lost a husband, their son and stepchildren, a rock star dad.
And my 7-year-old son, Ian, is not going to have a father to continue doing the things that they love to do together.
It was 2 weeks ago, and Rob Bursick was on his way home to Wisconsin from a Minneapolis hospital. The couple's young son had a bad eye infection. Dad had spent the night, then kissed his wife goodbye. Jess had no idea it would be their final farewell.
And that's when I saw the vehicle, and it was devastating.
Prosecutors have said Samuel Hicks was at the wheel of a semi, allegedly paying no attention to traffic on Highway 36. Hicks apparently never saw Rob Bursick's car at the stoplight. There was no attempt to brake. And Samuel, did you want to say anything at all to the Bursick family? They lost a father. Authorities have said video cameras on board the big rig captured the entire distracted driving incident. Hicks is now charged with criminal vehicular homicide and is out of jail, having posted his bond. Jess, meanwhile, had to explain it all to her son.
When I initially told him the news, he started crying right away and asked when he was going to be able to get another dad, and that he wanted the semi driver to be in big trouble.
Heartbroken and angry, Jess has decided to speak out to make sure her husband's death has meaning.
It wasn't just some ordinary man that was killed.
She wants people to see Rob Bursick, to see her shattered world and to put down their phones.
My husband's tragic death is going to be a message in a forward direction about texting and driving, and I think he would have some comfort in that.
Well, Samuel Hicks was driving for a large convenience store supplier by the name of E.B. Brown when this crash occurred. The Illinois-based company telling me recently its deepest sympathies go out to the Bursick family, and they are cooperating with authorities. What a mess. Ian kind of covered everything Mother Nature threw at us today. The snow, the freezing rain, the mix, whatever you want to call it. You are right, lighter traffic loads on this President's Day. So traffic, evening rush time, moving along just fine, but you can see it is greasy, it is grimy, and not just on the freeways. We're talking city and county roads, and that kept law enforcement busy all day long. This, an all too familiar scene across the metro, smashed vehicles, flashing lights, sloppy roads from Richfield to South St. Paul. We certainly saw it. This February storm started up as freezing rain before turning into that mixed bag of precip that included the wet snow. The result, the grimy road service, slowing down traffic, even on a lighter holiday afternoon. Also left snow removal contractors a bit puzzled, trying to figure out how to tackle this cleanup. Plows, salt shovels, all of it?
We've had shovels, we've had brooms out.
It's funny to hear the different ways people describe the roads, but not just city streets, as I mentioned. Freeway system getting gummed up today too. MnDOT traffic cameras capturing a jackknife semi in the crosstown over the lunch hour. Just one of the many accidents that backed up traffic today. In fact, the State Patrol tweeted out a little earlier, between midnight and 4 a.m., 288 crashes statewide, not to mention 4 jackknife semis. Fortunately, none of those accidents, serious injuries or death. But again, people coming out from wherever their cars might have been all day, get ready for ice everywhere. Definitely prepare some scraping. I talked to a friend who was at work all day. She texted and said she feels like her car, she came out to an ice sculpture. Now she's got to tackle the vehicle to get home tonight. So a lot of ice out on vehicles given the way precipitation fell tonight and today. That's the latest from here in Bloomington. We'll send it back to the studio.
Fox 9's Paul Blume was in court today and spoke with BIRDELL BEEKS' daughter after the verdict. Paul?
Kelsey, this incredibly strong and fearless family. They have never given up in their fight for justice. It was nearly 2 years ago that their mom and grandmother was caught in a gang war, an innocent victim, yet they never stopped looking for the killer, never stopped fighting. Well, today, the killer, 22 years old, is now headed to prison for the rest of his life.
You have no heart. You have no regard for your life or anyone else's life. So you're a monster.
In her victim impact statement, Celicia Beeks told the court she wished the defendant was dead.
He took something so precious to a huge family, and for no reason.
It was nearly 2 years ago when Joshua Ezeka ran out of his Northside home and unloaded his handgun towards a car of a rival gang member driving, as the judge recalled, on the wrong side of Broadway. Ezeka missed his intended target that evening. Instead, one of his 9 rounds struck and killed Celicia's mom, BIRDELL Beeks. BIRDELL's granddaughter was in the seat right next to her. The family matriarch's final words, quote, "Baby, they got me."
Stop with the shooting. Put the guns away. Stop being cowards.
Both the Beeks family and Judge Tamara Garcia blasted the gang lifestyle on Monday that led to the loss of a beloved and innocent life. Another witness in the case was also killed before Ezeka was convicted of first-degree murder by a Hennepin County jury. The mandatory punishment, life in prison without the possibility of parole.
No one seems to know what started this deadly rivalry. Yet apparently young men are willing to kill and die for it. For nothing.
If one family does not stand, they're going to continue to think it's okay. And it's not. You have to stop.
And for his part, Joshua Ezeka said absolutely nothing when given the opportunity to apologize in court. The Beeks family told me afterwards that was just fine with them. They didn't want to hear any hollow words for a young man they believe has absolutely no remorse. We're live outside the courthouse tonight. Paul Blume, Fox 9.
A Bloomington man charged, accused of hiding in a woman's bathroom and trying to sexually assault a student at Minneapolis Community and Technical College.
And as Fox 9's Paul Blume reports, the incident happened on campus right in the middle of the day.
The alleged attack midday Friday, brazen, in the most vulnerable of locations, the women's bathroom inside Minneapolis Community Technical College's primary building on Hennepin Avenue. The attempted rape, rattling nerves across the urban campus.
Shock, fear. I was crippled with fear. I was sad, rage, just a mixture of emotions.
According to prosecutors, this man, Assad Muhammad, hid out in a bathroom stall, crawling underneath the partition before attacking the woman as she sat on the toilet. Authorities believe only her screams for help prevented something even more horrific as fellow students, staff, and security rushed in.
That says that what we're doing is working. If you cry out for help, you will get help. Our people will not stand by and watch or allow something to happen to our community, our neighbors.
College President Sharon Pearson says her campus is safe, explaining the school has a well-trained public safety department and that this was an isolated incident that was quickly thwarted. As for the defendant, he has a disturbing history of arrests for lewd and sexual misconduct and was actually on probation at the time of Friday's alleged assault. Turns out a pair of recent criminal indecent exposure cases were dismissed against him because he was deemed mentally ill. At his first appearance on the new charges Tuesday, Muhammad's defense attorney told the court his client is in and out of the hospital, that he hears voices, and is on medication to treat his schizophrenia. Muhammad is sitting in the Hennepin County Jail behind me. His bail set Tuesday at $145,000. Meantime, the MCTC campus community planning to come together next week to discuss what happened. Again, this brazen attack right at the heart of their urban campus. The students this week are on spring break. Reporting from Minneapolis, Paul Blume, Fox 9.
A former Minneapolis police officer pleading not guilty.
A mantra that was a fan favorite in Washington, D.C., and it'll likely follow him right here to Minnesota. Fox 9's Paul Blume has more on where it all came from.
You like that? You like that?
It shows a fiery, cocky side of the Vikings' new quarterback. Amped up after a dramatic 2015 come-from-behind victory, Kirk Cousins shouted those three words a couple times at a stunned local Redskins reporter in the bowels of the stadium. You like that became a mantra for Washington, a much-watched internet sensation, and eventually found its way onto a whole bunch of T-shirts. Cousins, enjoying the moment, sold the merchandise, donating tens of thousands of dollars in proceeds to charity. Kirk still laughs about the heat of the moment encounter, while a local sports marketing expert tells me fans of the purple are going to grow to love the QB's passion.
And the first thing that came to my mind was we were the bold North, right? We've been talking about that through the whole Super Bowl season, and now we have someone who's bold and he's confident and he just says it, and he's not. I think we need that.
In that snapshot, do we see a little bit of the fire, the passion, the chip that you play with?
You know, I have always felt a little bit underrated, a little bit overlooked. If you go back and research my story, that's certainly an element there. And so as a result, there is a fire there. And it's a balance as a quarterback. You know, I want to stay within myself and never get too high or too low. But I think there's a healthy passion and fire there that can help bring out the best in me as a player.
He was a guy that always had to prove himself. He's a lot like a lot of our football team. Guys that come in here, work hard, do the things. He bet on himself several times and won. And so, those things are really important to me. He's always played with a chip on his shoulder.
And at last check, you like that T-shirts. We're still available on Kirk Cousins' personal website. Right now available in Redskins colors, in Michigan State colors, of course, his alma mater. No word on the timing of when those T-shirts might be available in purple and gold. Reporting from Vikings headquarters in Eagan tonight, Paul Blume, Fox 9.